All right. Happy Monday. Good to see you guys. Thank you, Jesus, for another day of life, Mike.
Absolutely.
We're here together. Well, I appreciate you guys as always. God is good. Another day to get better. So I'm proud of our guys. In all three phases, there's a lot of things we did well on Friday night. There's still, when you watch the film, I'm excited to get with our guys later today. And I'm beat a dead horse for everybody listening. It's all still going to be what do we learn and where are we growing to. I learned some good things about our team too. How fast we started that game in all three phases. Really proud of that. But there's still a lot of things on film we've got to continue to improve on. And we played 8 games. We talked about how big that game 8 is, and now we got to make sure that we play our best football game 9. But looking back at the game, proud of our team. Like I talked about prior, I think Maddox Madsen has best game as a Bronco. You talk about that young man, an elite competitor. Latrell Caples, 3 touchdowns, does all the dirty work that we want him to do, from blocking to all the stuff he needs to do. And seeing him have the production he did on Friday night was huge. We just continue to find ways to create explosive plays, and being able to wear defenses out is something, a testament to how our players practice, to what we're able to do schematically. And I'm just proud of our guys finishing the game offensively and being able to get, I think it was 7 receivers, caught a ball over 10 yards. I mean, some of that stuff is huge for the connection of our team. I think Matt Wagner's coming on strong as one of our tight ends. Obviously, everybody knows about Matt Lauder and the matchup nightmare he is, but especially Matt Wagner coming on strong in our O-line. I mean, anchored by Ben Dooley, Cage Casey, two veteran guys for us that just continue to grow and thrive. And we've been able to play a lot of guys on the O-line. They've done a great job. And so excited where we're growing to. And even Ashton Genty, man, I mean, we can sit here all day, talk about him, but I mean, he just, the warrior he is, the competitor he is, the teammate he is. I mean, I was just sitting in a leadership meeting talking about our team with him and where we need to keep growing to. I mean, that's this group of leaders. On the flip side, defensively, started extremely fast, finally got a pick 6, haven't had one of those in a while. I'm proud of Amara McCoy taking it the distance. His ball security has to improve. Trust me, we'll work that with him, taking it pick 6. But I mean, a young man that Amara McCoy has had his best 3 weeks as a Bronco back to back, from Hawaii to UNLV to now. He just needs to stay on that trajectory. And I think our corners are playing much improved. Coach Demo's done a great job of those guys. I mean, Amara McCoy, Jeremiah Irby, Devon Banks are playing some really good football right now. We need them to. Gave up some explosive plays defensively, but our guys stayed in. I think we gave up 5 explosive plays all game. If you do that, you always had a shot to play really good defense. 5's kind of the number, and our guys did that, had the 2 interceptions, and we're really good on 3rd down. Later in the game, though, we gave some stuff that we can't, and we got to play some other guys. We got to get some guys in rotation. But I'm proud of how our defense came out. They continue to improve week in and week out. Coach Chins and our defensive staff put really good plans together for our guys to be on the attack, and we're doing that. There's still some meat on the bone that we're excited to continue to improve on in our front. In regards to creating pressure on quarterbacks is something that we've done a good job of, and it needs to continue. Special teams-wise, we were able to get a fake punt, and our guys being able to execute that in that critical moment was huge. There's still some things in our coverage units we need to clean up. Did a much better job kicking the ball to the end zone, creating touchbacks with our kickoff unit. Some of the ball placement on some of the skies we were doing, we got to continue to improve. And there's just still some meat on the bones with some decision-making in regards to our special teams that we need to grow in. We are getting better, but I know we are relentless to continue to improve here, and we need to, especially the games need to go in, especially against a really good Nevada team coming in here that we know will be ready to play. So proud of our team in all 3 phases. It's still going to be what did we learn and how are we going to continue to grow going forward. We know we're going to play a really good Nevada team that's getting better every week. Think very highly of Jeff Choate and what he did not only here as a coach, but Montana State as a head coach, been to Texas. Kane Iones as DC that I know really well. He's a very, very good football coach and even a better man. And so we know we're going to get Nevada's best. We know they've had some injuries. Those guys will be healthy against us. And we're going to get Nevada's best on Saturday, and they're going to get Boise State's best too. With that being said, open up for questions.
As these teams continue to just load the box and do everything they can to stop Ashton, now that you're seeing what Maddox Madsen can do and this receiving core can do, I mean, at what point it's I guess a good problem you don't have to worry about on the other side, but at what point do they have to switch things back a little bit and worry more about the pass and that give and take there?
Yeah, BJ, I mean, you put defenses in conflict. And it was awesome hearing our guys even talking through that. I mean, like I said, Maddox played really well on Friday night, but I mean, there's some open receivers due to that, right? I mean, you really got to show your hand early on in how you're going to stop our run game attack. And when defenses do that, I mean, we're going to be on the attack too. There's answers that we have. And seeing our guys make those plays when they come to them, that's a good offense. that's an offense that we're going to continue to work to be elite when, hey, some of the run games being stopped, or, when teams are dictating that many hats to the run game, being able to be explosive in our pass game, that's the compliments we have on offense, and that's a testament to our players. And sometimes it's going to be Latrell Cable scoring 3 touchdowns. Maybe next week it's going to be a different receiver. But that's what builds the mentality of your offense and your team, is you never know when your number is going to get called. You never know when your opportunity is going to come, but be ready when it does. And so I'm proud of our guys. Like I said, there's still a lot of stuff on film. We had some penalties. We had some things that got us behind the sticks, BJ. But I'm proud of our guys staying true to the plan, continuing to work at it. And Maddox playing the way he does, that puts a defense in a lot of conflict.
When it comes to the way that teams are approaching Ashton, how many more often are they putting an extra guy in the box now or doing whatever, as opposed to the first couple of games of the season? How much has that changed?
Yeah, they've got a lot of games to look at now. As you get longer in the season, as a coach, you've got even more and more film to see, what other teams have done to try and stop the run game or the pass game or certain situational areas of the field that we've attacked defenses. And so we know early on in a game we're going to see their best run defenses. That could be pressures, it could be base defenses, it could be, whatever their kind of DNA is. And then it's our job to have answers, and it's our job to make sure we capitalize in the run game, and then obviously the pass is off it. Because at some point, even myself being a defensive guy, they've got 11, we got 11. And so how they're going to dictate hats to stop the run, how are they going to pressure us, how are they going to play their base coverages against the run game we're going to have, because we are going to establish a run game here. And then the passing attack off of it. So, our coaches do such a great job adapting, evolving in-game, having answers. And our players do too. Hey, guys, this is what they showed on film. We're probably going to get something different. That's what it is. And we've seen that week in and week out. Then we come to the sideline, look at the iPad. Hey, guys, this is how they're attacking us. This is how we're going to have to make sure we use it for our advantage going forward.
It's easy when Ashton breaks off 75-yard runs to say that's good. But, there were plays like it seems like San Diego State fits it freaking perfectly.
Yep.
He hurdles a guy in the hole and still picks up 6 or whatever. 18 missed tackles were like most in an NCAA game this year. How good is Ashton still, despite everything they're throwing at him, and still finding out a way?
Ashton Jeanty is the best football player in the country. And he preps like it, he trains like it, and we've got and we're a really good football team. Now, how we play this Saturday is all about how we practice to prep to do that. But when I talk to our team about what do we learn, you learn positives about your team too. I'm proud of our team in a lot of phases, but who I am and I know the leadership in our team, entitlement will not creep in here. Entitlement is thinking that what you did in the past affects the future, and it doesn't. This is a new week. We're a new team every week, just like Nevada is. And we've got to earn the right to play our best on Saturday. But who Ashton is and the mentality he has and how he runs, yes, it's not maybe a 60-yard touchdown, but we like playing 2nd and 2. And that opens up the playbook a lot for our offense to be able to shots downfield or whatever we might do in that situation. So, and it's the mentality of your team. Like when you consistently run the football, you wear defenses out. And that's how we're built here. It's not just even this season. That's how this place has been built for years. And we're going to continue to work our tail off to do those things.
What's the recovery process like for a guy like Ash, who's obviously sore, 30 carries plus, and just fixing that body and trying to get him to be in the best possible shape? I'm sure it takes a village.
Yeah, Johnny. Yeah, it's something that he has to do from the second the game's over till kickoff. And how he takes care of his body in our training room, his sleep, his recovery habits. And that's no different, obviously, for him and the shots he's taken and the carries he gets, but it's for everybody across college football right now. This is week 10 of college football, maybe even week 11 of the college football season. So, and I'm going to tell our team this. There's not one team in the country that's fresh. That, oh my gosh, I feel the same way I felt like I did in fall camp. Everybody's dealing with injuries. Everybody needs to have somebody else carry the flag and step up. That's college football. And no different for our players, like Ashton especially, like how I get in the training room and how I get myself ready so I can have my best week of practice, so I can earn the right to play best on Saturday night. It's something that our guys are tirelessly working at every single day, and they need to. Because, the month of November, this is where everything shakes down. This is the compete month. This is where everything's kind of set. And for us, we're going to take it one day at a time. And rankings and this don't mean anything. It's all about how we can have our best Monday meetings, our best Monday practice, and the second I wake up tomorrow, it's going to be all about having the best Tuesday.
For 3 hours of game time, Do you monitor how many carries he get, or at that point you're just focused on trying to win the game?
We're focused on trying to win the game, Mike. And obviously as we go through a game, we'll look at those things. But when we get in a game, it's our whole team, coaches included, our best attack to go win the football game. And then obviously we're going to be smart with players to see no different defensively, how many reps are some of our D linemen getting, are we getting worn down throughout a game. And that's also dependent on the depth you have at certain positions. But it is not something that go into a game where, hey, this is by quarter or by half or by game, this is the only carries that Ashton get. I mean, it's all about going in to win the game. And that's no different than who Ashton is as a person. What do I need to do to win the football game? And then at the end of the day, we look at to see what the carries are and the yards are, but it's all about winning the football game.
Are you comfortable with the carries he's been getting lately?
I am.
Back in August, you made a decision at quarterback, and you said Maddox gives you guys the best chance to win a game. How much has that proven true with the last 3 games as, teams have started to focus on who you call the best player in the country?
Yeah, I mean, Maddox has earned it. And what he's done, not only in the offseason that, earned the trust of me and his coaches and his teammates to be called the starting quarterback going into game 1, how he's played through these first 8 games has continually solidified himself as that guy, and he earns it every single day. And who he is as a competitor, same thing. As I walk through to do media today, he's in there studying film. That's who he is. He's an elite competitor. He's critiquing himself on the couple plays that he didn't do well on Friday night, not taking all the pats on the back as, I think I've arrived. Absolutely not. He's an elite competitor, and that's no different for a lot of our guys. That same thing, all the pats on the back, little by little, start to whittle that chip down. Maddox Madsen has a chip on his shoulder that he'll have forever. He's a competitor. And so proud of him, and I think at this point people see that, he's a big-time quarterback. And that's not just my opinion. Watch the film.
You've had 3 interceptions in the last 2 games. I know it was something you guys were pointing for. So anything that you guys did to get them, and they all seem to come at important times?
Bob, I've been asked that question for years as a defensive coordinator, and I'm asking even now as a head coach. In regards to turnovers, it's no different than any other technique. Like, you keep working at it. We do all the drills. We practice it every way you can find. We're trying to be on the cutting edge to find other ways to train it, because creating turnovers is everything in this game. Eliminating them on offense and taking them on defense is the game. But our guys have kept working the drills, kept doing it in practice, and seeing it now show up. The interception against UNLV, huge play in that game. They always are big plays. No different this week. The pick 6 and the interception by Alexander Tubner in that game. They're monster plays in the game, and we're going to keep repping it. We're going to keep repping it in practice and finding better ways to do it, and we need to have another good week of practice doing it. So I don't know if there's one drill that you could point to. Like I said, I've been doing this for a long time, but it's the mentality and the habits you create, and the more we can continue to create some pressure on quarterbacks, we're going to be able to get some throws.
If you look around college football right now, Ashton has us looking at the Heisman odds, and is it if you look at the quarterbacks, Cam Ward, guy on an extra year COVID year, Dylan Gabriel, extra COVID year, Jackson Dart, 4th-year starting quarterback, Indiana QB, extra COVID year, and then you have Maddox as a sophomore. What is the key to the developmental process? There's not a whole lot of young QBs really thriving right now. There's a lot of these older guys. So what is the key to getting these guys off on the right foot and developing them?
Yeah, I think so much of that is, first off, what we are about here at Boise State, Jay, and I'm very open about this. We are a developmental football program. We don't just go to the portal or go to junior college right away. We're always looking for the best football players around. Let's not get that twisted. But we're about development, and where a player is as a freshman, where we can grow him to as a sophomore, where we can grow him to as a junior. And so even looking at Maddox, he's a sophomore, and he's been here the whole time. And he's gotten better since he walked in. He got better from last season. He's getting better week to week. We focus on that here. We focus on growing our football players and everything they do, not only just the football schematics or the fundamentals, in the training room, in the weight room, growing their bodies, growing their habits as young men. That is what we do here. That's what we focus on. And so seeing a guy like Maddox Madsen, who's a redshirt sophomore, who's doing some really good things, he's going to continue to improve. Maddox Madsen has not played his best football. That's what fires me up. That's what fires me up as a coach, and I can say that for multiple guys on our team that now are getting highlighted in regards to how they play. And my first thing to them is, I know you haven't played your best. I know you're not even close to tapped in regards to who you are as a young man either, because that's life. We're all on a journey, and it's my job to make sure that we are all focused on what we are attacking, what we are going for, not looking behind and soaking up in what we've done to this point, because it really doesn't matter.
How How was Dirk, really helped develop him? I mean, obviously you brought him in for a reason.
Yeah.
I assume Maddox wouldn't be where he was if Dirk wasn't here.
No question. Dirk Koetter is elite at not only developing quarterbacks, calling an offense, building an offensive game plan. He is elite. End of story. And I know when he tells those quarterbacks what to do from fundamentals to reads, they listen to him, and they should. And that's shown up in how Maddox has progressed throughout his time.
It might be a little premature, but what's the ceiling for Maddox Madsen? Obviously you get seizing everything. Everything.
You said the ceiling?
His ceiling, yeah. Everything Ashton's doing is helping, but even Maddox's pocket presence, ball security, just how far can he go?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I didn't know we had a dual threat quarterback till last weekend. I found that out. That's something I learned about our team. Where his ceiling is, extremely high, because I know who he is as a competitor. I don't look at when people say what's the ceiling of a player, how tall he is, how fast. No. To me, it's their mentality. If they have the right mentality, their ceiling just rose. Because skill to me is talent plus character. And so, because someone could have all the talent, but they don't have the right character that forms the right habits, they're not going to have the skill to go be the player everybody wants them to be. Where Maddox has that. Maddox has talent and he has character at a high level. And so he's only going to continue to grow and thrive each game, each week, each offseason. He's only going to get better.
When you seeing him grow even from when he first arrived here to now, and obviously, you weren't working with him as much as a defensive coordinator, but just where have you seen his growth the most?
Yeah, I mean, in all facets. I mean, not only in who he is as an overall athlete has improved a lot since he's been here. How he is in his decision making. I mean, that ball is jumping off his hand. There's so many things. He's grown every single week because he works at it. How he reads the defense, the check. I mean, everything runs through Maddox. The run game checks, who he is in regards to the pass game, the reads, everything we're doing runs through Maddox. And Dirk does a phenomenal job with him training that, so when he goes in the field, he can operate everything we need him to operate, and he's grown in all those phases.
The running back depth, obviously, coming into the season was a huge thing. And how much has that really hurt, not having Sire and Breezy? We've seen the 30 carries, 3 straight games for Ashton. How much of that is also because you haven't had a ton of quality guys? You got 9 carries, I guess, to the other guys, but just where are you with the running back depth?
Yeah, BJ, it's huge. I mean, you go in with obviously Ash, you got Sire Gaines, you got Breezy, Dylan, you got Tico, and as you go through a season, guys get injured and get out. And so as that happens, that puts the load a lot more on the rest of the guys in the position, obviously for the running back, but this is across the board. And this is what everybody in college football is dealing with. I know those two, especially Sire and Breezy in particular, are working their tails off to make sure we get them back. And we need to. And I was just in the training room earlier today seeing them work their tails off to get healthy and be able to practice. So I can't speak to where exactly they're at. I know we need them.
There was some question earlier in the season regarding Prince and where he was in the passing game. Past few weeks he's really shown up. First touchdown on Friday night. How have you seen him kind of develop as the season's gone on?
Yeah, I'm proud of Prince. I mean, especially early on in the season, wasn't getting the targets or catches that I know he wanted and we wanted for him. And he just kept working. He stays after practice every single day to get extra work. If it's catching balls, doing some routes on air by himself, every single day after practice, he stays after. And he's getting extra film. So he's improving. And what started the season as maybe not getting the amount of catches that he wanted or we wanted for him, now he's getting those because he earns it. And he earns the respect of his teammates. He earns the respect with Maddox and the timing that's needed to be able to make some of those big catches. And so I'm proud of Prince. And I know there's still a lot more for him, for our team, and for him to continue to achieve this season. But I'm so proud where he's at now because I see him work at it. He's not getting this now because he was frustrated and wanted the ball more. That didn't happen. He just kept working. And so I'm proud of Prince.
You said earlier this year, he wanted to be more than just a deep pass route runner. He wanted to, be able to get the short routes and get the medium routes. Yep. How much better are you seeing him in those short and medium routes this year?
Yeah, Prince is getting to where he can run the whole route tree. I mean, there's multiple times where, 4th and 2 slant to Prince, where, a year ago, he probably couldn't do that the way we needed him to. Now he can. And he's able to work the middle of the field on some of those intermediate passing routes and not just be a take the top off guy for us. And that's a testament to Coach Miller working with him, but really it's a testament to Prince and the work ethic and who he is to be able to do those things.
At this point in the season, can be fun when you see a young guy make a jump, and maybe that guy last year was Matt Lauder. This guy this year kind of seems like it might be the other Matt on Matt Wagner. What have you seen out of him, and what has kind of led to his success here recently?
Yeah, because Matt Wagner is going to be a big-time player for us. I mean, he is going to be a matchup issue for defenses for a long time. And talk about a young man who's humble, hungry, works his tail off, had some injuries, missed a game, kept fighting, came back, does everything we need him to do, plays on special teams, makes the hard blocks, has a couple huge catches in the game, and his role is going to continue to grow because he earns it. And so, I mean, Matt Wagner is a redshirt freshman. He's a really good player for us now, and his ceiling is high because of his mentality and how he trains and who he is. So very proud of Matt Wagner. He's going to be a matchup issue for defense for a long time.
This Saturday, what do you think stands out about Nevada? What is their calling card on both sides?
Yeah, I mean, once again, they're going to be extremely well coached coming here. I think the world of Coach Choate, and his Nevada team's getting better week in and week out. They played a lot of games. They had a week 0 game. They had SMU on the ropes. They beat Oregon State well at home. They've got some really good wins. Last week was kind of one of those games where some stuff didn't go their way. But, I mean, that team plays hard in all 3 phases. Like I said, I don't know Coach Choate extremely well. I know Kane Ione very well, and I think the world of him as a coach. I know that defense is going to be relentless. They're going to be on the attack. They're going to be well coached. And I know offensively it's no different. They're getting some of their weapons back from injury, and I know they're going to be full strength against us. And, I mean, their quarterback, number 2, will be one of the most athletic quarterbacks we've seen all year. And he can make the throws. I mean, he's rated one of the top quarterbacks we've seen. He can make the throws. They can run triple option with him. They can do design runs. I mean, they're coming to their own offensive. They use some tempo in the Colorado State game that kind of worked in their favor. So I'm sure we'll see some tempo this week, too. They get a lot of different personnel. They got a ton of running backs that are all really talented. They've got a lot of transfers on both sides that have kind of helped them grow and develop. And they've got some weapons. They got a big 6'6" receiver on the outside that's really good at getting those 50-50 balls and blocks his tail off too. And like I said, defensively, they're going to be on the attack. I mean, they give you a lot of different front structures, and they play relentless. And that's a testament to their coaches, a testament to their players. And even on special teams, they're going to be on the attack. They're going to try to steal a possession on one of the phases. Their guys play hard. And I know in all 3 phases, we will get Nevada's best on Saturday night. And that's what we want. They're going to get our best too. Now we got to go earn the right to go do it in how we practice, because this is the most important game of our season. Why? Because it is the next one. And that's my focus, and that's going to be my message to our guys. We're going to clean up the game from Saturday today, and we're going to flip the switch, and it is all gas on Nevada because we know we're going to get their best Saturday, and we got to earn the right to go play that. And that's what's so cool about college football, especially when you get November, especially when you're playing conference games. You're going to get each other's best every week. And it's the teams that can focus on the process, focus on what matters, not on what's going to happen down the road, not even what's going to maybe happen in the game. No, let's have the best Monday we've ever had in your habits, in your process, in our practice, in our meetings. Saturday will take care of itself. Like, I want our guys to cut it loose, and we're not going to overcoach them on Saturday. I talked to them about attacking success. There will not be a Boise State Bronco that I ever want to take the field that's going to go out there and play with fear. Absolutely not. The way we do that, though, is how we practice. And we need to get to work and make sure we earn the right to play our best.
Spencer, back to Dirk. You spent 80 hours a week with him up here. What's it like with him behind the scenes? How much fun is he having with this offense behind the scenes? And as part of those conversations, is it taboo to talk about next year? Do you joke about him coming back next year? Do you want him to come back next year?
I absolutely want Dirk to come back next year. No, we don't talk about that stuff, Mike. We talk about Dirk is not only, as we all see, a phenomenal offensive coach, quarterback coach, game planner. He's a huge mentor to me. And I go in there a lot, from practice schedules to culture to messaging. Obviously, we've talked about Coach Pete. I Zoom with him once a week to make sure I'm not missing anything. But Dirk's a huge resource for me. He's a huge resource for our whole staff. And I think he's having an absolute blast because he loves these kids. And I think sometimes people don't understand that. The relationships he builds with these players, not just on the offense, the defense, the guys that he's texting, calling, checking on them. That's who he is. He's an elite coach. He's even better, mentor for these young men, and a mentor for me as a young head coach, that I pick his brain constantly in regards to all facets of this game. And he's an absolute joy to be around on a day-to-day, and he's one of the most meticulous, process-oriented coaches I've ever been around. He's brought me to a higher level, and I'm thankful for that.
You got a lot going on, obviously, but are you at all intrigued, interested at all just to see what the committee thinks of you guys tomorrow night?
BJ, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Absolutely not. And I don't say that to tell you the coach speech. I really don't. It just doesn't matter. Because no different with the AP rankings. People, I see, cool. It doesn't matter. You lose a game, you're out of there. Someone wins out, and all of a sudden they're in there, and no one thought they were going to make it. That happens all the time. And so for me, I'm proud of what our guys have done through 8 games, BJ, but I'm just so excited for us to continue to learn and grow and have our best game 9. And so whatever the rankings come out, I'm sure someone's going to screenshot it and send it to me. I'll see it, and I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to talk to our team about it and make sure they know, guys, whatever comes out Tuesday night, it doesn't matter. What matters is how we prep and the practice we have Tuesday to earn the right to play our best on Saturday, because it really doesn't. This isn't my opinion. Those rankings do nothing for our team. Do nothing. The only thing it would do is if we focus on them, get us to where we don't focus on what matters, which is our work.
So I can tell you not to invest in your rankings, but week 3, week 4, talking about the playoffs compared to talking about the playoffs week 11, November. Is it at least starting to maybe settle in a little bit more of how close you guys are?
No. I mean, it's not something I talk about. It's something I will talk about just so I make sure the things that are out there in the media, I do talk with our team about just to be very straight and direct with my thoughts on it. So I am going to talk about that the college football playoff rankings are coming out tomorrow, but I'm going to make sure everybody in this building knows it doesn't matter. What matters is how we work. Because, once again, it doesn't. It does. It's not like, wow, that's an interesting way to look at it, Coach. It doesn't matter. And where we are ranked at the end of this season matters. And for me, the only way to achieve anything is to take it one day at a time. That's our process, and that's what this place is built on. It's not built on teams or people that live in entitlement and look at rankings and think, oh, look at how good we are. No, to me, we haven't done nothing yet. We played 8 games. We've done some good stuff. There's still a lot of meat on the bone, man. I got to be better. Our team's got to be better, and we got to have our best week of practice.
You encourage guys to go vote tomorrow?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. We in the bye week we brought somebody in to talk to them about getting registered and making sure they go vote. And I'm going to talk to our team on Tuesday. Say, hey guys, after practice, go out there and vote, guys. Go out there. I'm going to, and I'm going to make sure our staff has that opportunity because we live in a country where you can do that. And regardless where anybody's at with candidates and where it is, we are in a country that you got to go out and vote. And you have that right as a citizen here, and you got to go take advantage of it. And so I'm going to make sure our players have that space. I want to make sure our staff has that space. If guys don't, that's their decision to not. And I know, too, for me, I'm going to make sure our staff and our players, we're praying for our country. And right now, whatever happens tomorrow in the election, I'm believing that God's best is done for our country, and we continue to grow as a country because I love our country. And I'm not going to ever be a guy that says anything different. I'm going to be here. Just like I talk about Boise State football, I'm going to be here. I love this country, and I'm praying that God's best is to come.
Chris Marshall, how's he holding up? I know he's probably not having the season that he's wanted to. Where are his spirits? Is there any update there with Chris Marshall?
Yeah, Johnny, good question. With Chris, it has not gone the way he's wanted to, really due to injury. And, we leave the Georgia Southern game, going to the Oregon game, and he was a huge part of that game plan going to the Oregon game. First target he got, had a high ankle sprain. And that missed a couple weeks. Then trying to get him back from that. Then he had a hamstring tweak. So he's battling through it right now. And he was in the training room today working to get healthy, and that's my message to him. And yes, there's days that he's frustrated because he wants to be out there on the field and help our team because a healthy Chris Marshall helps our football team. But when he's not, especially at the position he plays, if I can't run the top speed I need to run, he doesn't help our team. He doesn't help himself either. So getting him healthy, getting him out there to be able to help our team down the stretch, when we get him back and when he's going to be 100% healthy, he was banged up last week again. We just got to get him healthy so he can go out there and be his best.
The Oregon game, how's Roger Cherry doing?
Mm-hmm. He's doing great. He's doing great, Jay. I mean, he's doing some drills and he's doing some indie type stuff and he's moving. And first off, even before I talk about where Roger's at, I mean, I am so proud of him and Mason in regards to how they are as leaders right now. And if you guys ever get an opportunity when you come to practice to watch those guys, watch them in the game, I mean, they are so intent on helping those players that are on the field, coaching them up, what they're seeing. I mean, there was a point in the game on Friday night, I mean, Roger had the O-line, and he was giving him the pump-up speech of, it was like a Braveheart speech coming. I mean, just the amount that these guys love their team. Yes, they are two of our best players that aren't playing right now, but they're not, I'm not a part of the game plan, so I'm not going to bring the juice or the leadership. I mean, they are bringing it for their teammates. And Roger's in a good place. I mean, our trainer's done a great job, and he's moving. We'll get him back here.
You had, down 4 offensive linemen this week. First off, at what point does that become a concern? And second off, just how's the line been able to respond? I know you next man up. We say this every week, but just how impressed are you with how well they've been able to respond to all this adversity?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Keene, Coach Koetter, Coach Potter have done a great job. And, I mean, with the O-line we've had out, being able to mix and match guys, get them in there, get them to compete at a high level. I'm just so proud of our staff. I'm proud of our guys, because that's the reality of college football is it's next man up. Blank player can't play. This guy's playing now, carry the flag. And we're going through it just like Nevada's going through it, just like everybody else in the country is going through it. Next guy's got to step up, and I'm proud of our staff, and I'm proud of our players.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it, guys.
Cold in here.
Good, Tyler. Good. Okay. All right, there you are. Question?
As teams continue to try to slow Ashton, and we continue to see what Madsen in this passing game can do, I mean, at what point do teams have to, I know it's pick your poison, but I mean, what's it like now with what the passing game's doing, where a team's going to at some point going to have to back off a little bit on the running game, and then Ashton can take back over, or what's that kind of give and take like?
We'll have to see on that. I mean, we don't have control over that. I would imagine teams are going to work pretty hard to try to stop the run game. That's when you talk to any defensive coach, that's no one wants to get beat with you running the ball at them. So every defensive coach tries to stop it. So I'm sure we'll continue to see some form of that.
When it comes to developing a quarterback, what are the keys, especially for kind of a young quarterback? What are the good keys for you, and what do you think you maybe have leaned on throughout your career?
Well, first of all, they have to have the ability. I mean, at this level, they have to have ability. They have to be able to learn. They have to be able to retain information. They have to be able to process information. So, be able to take it from the meeting room and the film room to the field. They have to be able to protect the football. They have to be able to throw the football accurately. So they have to be able to run the team. They have to be able to get us in and out. They have to be able to have a knowledge of defense, what defenses are trying to do against us. So it's an ongoing process. There's a lot to it, and yeah, these guys are definitely growing right now.
It seems like you named a lot of things that Maddox has done a pretty good job at, but how have you seen him develop from game 1 to going into game 9 now?
Well, that's the point right there. Is, I mean, would he start 1 game or 2 games a year ago? And so anytime you're going from a experienced quarterback to an inexperienced quarterback, I mean, there's no better teacher than game reps. So we can have scrimmages, we can have practices, but it's way different when you're out there and the lights are on and the crowd is real and the defenses are trying to rip your face off. I mean, that's just there's no substitute for experience.
Back in the fall, you were a proponent of Maddox Madsen as a runner.
Oh, I was?
You talked about him a little bit here and there.
Oh, wow, that's surprising.
He's starting to
surprising
show
it worked out that way.
He's starting to show us with legs. Are you thinking about trying to get him more involved with this?
We have a few QB runs every week, and they don't always show up because they're reads. So we called, the ones in UNLV, those were not his touchdown and the long one, and but we have 2 or 3 every week, and they surprise us sometime that they when it is a read that they let us give the ball to Ashton. So there was at least one of those in the game the other night, but. Yeah, we're not trying to run him too much, but we'll run him a little bit.
Spencer was just saying part of what makes a good quarterback is mentality. How would you describe Maddox's mentality?
Well, he's a winner. I mean, he's been a winner in everything he's done, his whole life, and he's a very sharp kid. I mean, he can retain information and he can take it to the field. So. And he's just a natural leader. He's not the most outspoken guy, but he leads by example and he leads by his work ethic.
Sure, a couple weeks ago, something to the effect of he finally showed what I've been seeing in practice. I mean, just now that he continues to do this and put more and more on tape and in front of the public and everyone to see, I guess, just how much more is he becoming, or at least showing the quarterback that you knew when you way back before fall camp even started, had him atop the depth chart.
Yeah, I think I mentioned to you that back in 2022, I mean, when I took over 4 games after the first 4 games of that year, I mean, I'd been seeing it in practice then, and I mean, this guy's just, he's got a knack for playing the position. I mean, he doesn't have the ideal size, he doesn't have ideal arm strength, but there's a lot to playing quarterback besides size and arm strength.
What goes either through your mind or Maddox's mind when San Diego State does kind of come out like that? And I mean, clearly they wanted to challenge Maddox in the passing game.
Yeah, I mean, all 3 of those first half touchdowns were plays that we put in just last week. I mean, those weren't our standard plays. The first one to Luttrell was a play that Coach Miller put in, and they were all based on looks from those formations that we'd seen from San Diego State. And, one of them was a first down call. One of them was I guess 2 of them were first down calls, and one of them was a second and long call. But, we always have passes ready based on the situation and the looks the team has shown on tape against the teams most like us. That's one thing when you get late in the year. You take a look at Nevada. Nevada's played 10 games already. That's just crazy. So, I mean, obviously we have a boatload of film up there that we're trying to sort through, but not all of those games help us. Not all of those games are like us. We try to really study the situations and the teams that are most like us, and we formulate our game plan based on that. And this was just one of those games where it fell just right at the right time, and then the players still have to execute. You have to not have penalties. You have to have protection, all that stuff. So it worked out good.
I was just asking Spencer about Prince, and he mentioned, he feels like Prince can run the entire route tree, whereas maybe last year he wasn't able to. And it's really shown the last few games. Where have you seen him improve this season the most?
I'll go back to the experience. Just the experience of playing in games and playing against different corners, some guys are bump and run guys, some guys are off. The other thing is, I know Coach D mentioned that, Prince is in here early and late studying tape. Prince's brother played or has played in the NFL, so, Prince is pretty serious about football. And then I'd just say all of our receivers, I think the number one thing on all these guys is when they're healthy, they're playing pretty good. Health has a lot to do with, look at Latrell coming off a catastrophic injury, a torn Achilles, and it takes a long time to get back. And then Cam Camper, we didn't really know how good he was, and then he was healthy. And then Austin Bolt started off fall camp on fire, then he was a little banged up. When these guys are healthy, they're all good enough to be playmakers for us, and they've shown that when they're healthy.
And he got 9 carries in the last game to Crow and Riley, but just the injuries to Breezy and Sire, how much has that challenged things in terms of the depth of the backfield and how you've had to disperse carries and things?
Well, those are 2 pretty good guys. Think of the year Breezy had last year, and Breezy just hasn't really been able to make it back to full strength this year. We're hopeful, he's close. And then Sire was off to a tremendous start on very unfortunate injury. So, we're down our depth chart, and if I'm not mistaken, you guys were all antsy when we only gave Ashton 11 carries in some games, and you were all antsy about that. And now we're giving him too many. I don't know. The object's to win the game. That's what we're trying to do.
You were always very high on Matt Lauder even before the season started. What about the other Matt, the tight end?
Yeah.
Room?
Again, experience for him. Matt Lauder had played. Matt Wagner hadn't played much. First thing that jumps out about Matt Wagner is his size. He is a big dude. Like every time I stand next to him, I go, damn, that guy's big. And he's tough. He's got really good hands. He's benefited from playing with Lauder, see how another guy that's done it before, and then they both benefit from having an excellent coach in Nate Potter. So even our 3rd and 4th tight ends, Luke Voorhees and Austin Terry, those guys have come in and played smaller roles, but they've done a darn good job in those roles.
Just the opportunities too. It seems like anytime you try to get the ball to Matt, he does something good. In the last game there was a penalty on the play, but he still picked up 25, 30 yards on it. The catch at UNLV was pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, that was. Mm-hmm. He's just one of those guys that as he's played more, he's earned more opportunities and he's made the most of them.
Dirk, how much fun are you having with this offense? And at what point do you, because I'm assuming you're having a lot of fun with this offense.
Except for 12:45 on Mondays, I'm having a lot of fun.
This is the easiest thing you've ever done. At what point do you start thinking about next year in the future?
I do not think about next year. No. And neither should our guys. We should be thinking about what we got to do this week, and this is, it's all fleeting. It can all go away in a second, and obviously we have a great thing going right now. Our players are on board. Coach D does an awesome job of getting everybody in the building on the same page, which is a big piece of this puzzle. We're relatively healthy, knock on wood, right now. We're playing solid football in all phases, and that's all we should be focused on right now.
Dirk, you think again, it's about a year ago this time the program was in a very different state. Spencer, when he came back, he said that he felt like he had the best assistant coaching staff in the country. In all honesty, a lot of you guys were here last year or the year prior. What has he done to, I don't know, whatever he's done that's made this operation as good as it's been so far this year?
Yeah, I tell my friends in coaching all the time, Spencer does have a really good coaching staff, and I don't include myself in that. I'm talking about the guys besides me. The pay scale in college football has exploded, and for what these, he's going to have a hard time holding on to some of these guys. I mean, some of these guys are going to have opportunities to, go other places, and just like players. I mean, there's an NIL in the coaching world too. It's called cash, but he does have a good staff, and Spencer's very clear about what his expectations are for the staff. But then once he has laid those things out, he lets guys do their job, and that's what every coach wants. He wants to be able to do his job and within the framework of what the head coach has laid out.
Why is that? I mean, kind of silly, maybe it's silly, but why is that important to a coach to feel like they might have that autonomy or control over what they do?
Well, I would assume that's probably why most of them got into it. Like no one wants to be ordered around all day. Mark Johnson used to order you around?
Yes.
Dirk, are you more
Impressed with the availability, the 30-plus carries, maybe the yards per carry isn't as high. Does that impress you more with what you do than the, 200 yards on 12 carries, he's out by halftime type of thing?
I don't know how to answer that. First off, our goal for a running back's average yards per carry is 4.25. If you're averaging 4.25 yards, you're staying ahead of the chains. So this whole yards per carry thing got overly inflated based on the crazy start that Ashton had. I'm just most impressed with what all of our players, but Ashton in particular, they're having to go through a lot right now. All right, they're having to go through this whole college football playoff thing. Like our goals are right up there. I mean, Coach D always makes that, but now this year there's the added thing of the college football playoff. That's huge. Never been done. Never been done anywhere, and let alone here. And then on top of that, the whole Heisman thing. That got rolling, and deservedly so. I mean, the guy deserves it. One of the best players in the country. But the fact that just all the attention and all the things these guys have to balance besides taking care of their bodies, lifting weights, going to school, having some kind of a life outside of this building. It's a lot for young guys. It's a lot for anybody. So I'm just impressed with the way he's handled everything.
One more QB development, kind of even on a broader scale, Derek. And you've been in coaching for a long time. It feels like the need to succeed immediately is greater now than ever. But you look like
who drives that?
I get it. You're right. Social media, us, I get it. But I mean, you look at the NFL. Some of the young quarterbacks are really struggling. You look at even the college game. Almost all the good quarterbacks are COVID sixth-year seniors or fourth-year starting quarterbacks. Just looking at quarterback development in general, where do you think it's currently at, I guess? And what do you think about it kind of on a broad scale?
Well, we talked about this a few weeks ago. I mean, the fact that these guys are making $50 and $60 million, that the pressure is high because teams are paying a huge chunk of their salary cap. That's just what drives it right now. And then as far as the college thing goes, the transfer portal, I can't remember the exact stat of, I think it's like 57 or something transfer quarterbacks are starting. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, everybody's looking for that guy to get their program to the next level, and some teams are finding success with it, others aren't. I think that probably hurts quarterback development because I think the best guys stay in the same system, stay with the same coach, stay with the same group of coaches, same group of players, and develop. Now, guys like Dylan Gabriel proved that wrong. I mean, he's been spectacular at 3 different schools. That must mean he's pretty good.
Great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Coach Bob's
you go. All right. Question.
How nice was it to see the pick six?
That was great. We haven't been hot on the interception trail. It was great to get one early. Great to get a defensive score. I thought the guys did a really good job. Not only Marion had a great interception, but the other guys gave some key blocks as he was trying to return that thing. So that was a great job by the whole defense.
It's like JVM. He's playing at an all-league level.
Really popped this year. He said last week these were kind of his expectations. Realistically, kind of what were your expectations for him this year in this defense?
Yeah, I think we touched on it briefly last week. My expectations for him were to play at the level he's playing at. Just thought it might come a little earlier, but he took a few games to get going. I think right now he believes in himself. He has a lot of confidence. He's cutting it loose. He's not worrying about making a mistake. I think he's playing really good football, and I hope he keeps it up.
To have two ends that, they're going to both be well over double digit. At least they're on pace for well over double digit sacks, but what does it mean to have two D ends that can offer that to you?
Yeah, I think it's huge. You can get in. Now you're at the point where you guys have said it before. There's been a lot of non-traditional sacks. You're at the point now where you can get some four-man rush, and they can't identify. Oh, we got to slide it one way or the other. We've got to chip one way or the other. You got to keep account for both guys right now. And if you guess wrong, then you got another guy that can go get the quarterback. So that helps out everybody in the front.
How will Ahmed and Jaden kind of play off each other? And we were kind of asking Jaden after the game, like he took the sack lead over Ahmed, and he just kind of had this like proud smile on his face, like it was just like that's wild, how do those guys kind of play off each other?
Yeah, I think our team, they want the team to do well, whatever it takes to win. That's what they want to do. But there's also a very high sense of competition in the building. And whether that's in a lead for the sacks or a lead for TFLs or, just doing your job and grading out better week to week, I think there's a high sense of competition. So, and he knows how good of a player Ahmed is. He knows that he plays at a very high level as well. So, for those two to be neck and neck, I think that's pretty cool.
At this point, with the edge, the way JVM and Ahmed are playing, are you seeing offenses playing you more balanced, where it's not, hey, JVM's getting all these sacks because Ahmed is getting all this attention? It's kind of at the point now that it's more balanced in that regard?
Yeah, I think it's more balanced. I also think that, everyone has deficiencies, on their offense. Everyone has deficiencies on defense. We have deficiencies, whether it be schematically or a player. And I think right now, if one of your deficiencies is one of your offensive tackles, and you got to really help that person out, then you're going to leave the other guy kind of, on his own, which is a tough duty on either one of those two guys. So I think that it's causing them to, have to say, well, we're going to live with somebody having a one-on-one. We're going to help the other guy, and maybe next time he gets a sack, and we're helping that guy now and leaving the other guy one-on-one. So it's a give and take. But those guys are both playing at a high level, and they're really helping out everybody else in the pass rush.
I know that the goal is to pressure and confuse the quarterback. You want to start fast. Is that the best first 15 minutes of football you guys have played this year on defense?
Oh, man. Yeah, I guess I wasn't ready for that one. It was a really good first 15 minutes. I'd have to look back and see all of the games. I know we played some early ones, but I would say probably yes.
What was so impressive about it then? Because, San Diego State seemed pretty overwhelmed there for a while with you guys.
Yeah, I think, everything we talk about, starting fast, we need some 3-and-outs early. We've got to create more turnovers. The most impressive thing, I think, for me was just the kids responded. They did everything that Coach Danielson, myself, our position coaches, everything that we've asked of them this week, they went out and executed that piece of the game plan. So that was the most impressive part. And then obviously later in the game, we got some other guys in there, and didn't think that everybody that was in played to the standard. Like to finish those games, especially when we can get a new crew in there or a different role for some guys playing some different positions. But they've earned the right to play in games, and I want to just see those guys finish the game.
You
You expect San Diego State to be throwing the ball as much as they were early on. I mean, Marquez Cooper, and it looks like they were almost forcing to pass the ball at times.
Yeah, I think that they have a, I'm not in their meetings, but I think that they have a RPO attached to just about every run, and I think there's some things that they look for pre-snap. I think we did a decent job of disguising some leverage and moving around a little bit, maybe telling a young quarterback the RPO is there. So I don't know if that was just their game plan or maybe some of the looks that he thought he had some things and he really didn't have them, but. Yeah, I thought they might come out and run the ball a little more too, but it might, they might have those run plays called and they just had that RPO look. I'm not exactly sure, what they told that young guy to do.
I know you mentioned just some other guys getting in there and the score getting out of hand, obviously in the second half. But how did you look at the 2 for 14 on third down and the 6 for 6 on fourth down?
Yeah, and once again, it's like a lot of those fourth downs came. In the second half, and we just got to play them better. There are some things that definitely things I could have done to help those guys that got in at the end. It's always a balance of what have they repped, what are they ready for. San Diego State did a good job on some of those down and distances on some play calls as well, and they did a nice job just schematically on some of those things, but obviously did not like that.
How was it changed defending fourth down? I mean, I think last week Dirk was saying the analytics sometimes say go for it on 4th and 6th, but it just seems like teams are going for it on 4th a lot more. How's that changed for you?
Yeah, I think you put more of an emphasis, I guess, in the game planning process. Like it used to be kind of like 4th down. Like, what do you guys want to call? I don't know. What's our best call? We can fit to everything. Now I think you got to put a premium on what people are doing on 4th down. As you said, I think everybody subscribes, not everybody, but a majority of the team subscribe to the analytics company now, and those people are saying to go for much more on 4th down. The head coach still has to make the decision, and he's still got to stand at the podium after the game when you go for it on 4th down, but it's more, I think, reassuring for a head coach / offensive coordinator now that when the book says it and your gut says it, let's go ahead and do this. So especially when some games are getting, more than 2 scores ahead, then it's becoming a much easier decision.
From everything you knew about Marco, did you have any idea he had the ability to run the ball?
Well, I guess I didn't really know until, we obviously practiced that in practice this week, and I got a chance to watch him do it quite a bit. That cutback was pretty sweet that he had there. I didn't know he had those hips in him, but that was pretty cool to see.
A lot of talk we've had about him this season has been on his special teams play, but I mean, he's still 6 in tackles for you guys. He had that fumble recovery earlier this season. I mean, maybe not the most flashiest plays, but what does he still mean for you guys, for your defense?
Yeah, I mean, that's Marco day to day, right? He's not a super flashy guy walking around the building, but he's consistent. He does his job. He's going to be where he's supposed to be. He's physical. He's tough. He's a great practice player. He's got great leadership ability for us. And like we don't have a ton of depth in the linebacker room. Some of those young players are really coming along, but we need to keep him and Drew healthy, and we need to rotate those guys a lot. And when Marco's number's been called, he's made a lot of big plays. I mean, in my opinion, one of the biggest plays in that Washington State game was the 4th down stop that he had. So he's had critical stops. He's had critical plays through the season, and I appreciate the heck out of Marco.
What stands out to you about Nevada?
A lot of things right now. We're getting all the way through it. They've got a very mobile quarterback. He can throw the football. I think their running backs have been a really good crew, especially when they've been healthy. I know they've been banged up a little bit, but when they've been healthy, they've been a really, really good 1-2 punch. They got a 6'6" wide receiver. Their tackle, number 70, I don't think he's given up a sack on the season. He's come a long way, so I think that they have a talented bunch. I know they're in the process of first-year head coach, first-year offensive coordinator, obviously have a longer relationship with Matt Lubick. He does a really good job, and I just think those guys will continue to get better, just as San Diego State under a first-year head coach. They've continued to get better and better through the season, so it's a good unit, and we've got to prepare well.
With Dirk about Spencer Danielson and how he kind of, I guess handles assistant coaches, and he said he'll present you guys with thoughts and information, and then he kind of lets you guys just do your jobs. You've been around for a while, Erik. How unique is that approach, and why does that seem to be working this year? A lot of these assistant coaches were here last year. You guys are 4 and 5 at this point in time. Why is it working so much better this year?
Well, I think Coach D does a great job. I guess, last year was the first defensive head coach I've ever worked for. Spencer is the second, now. But he does a great job with us. I don't know what happens in the offense room. I'm not in there with those guys. But he does a great job with us, at least early in the week, of saying, here's some thoughts I have. Here's some things I know I need answers for. And not so much like we weren't going to find the answers, but he wants to know what they are so at practice he can, participate. So I think he does a really good job of what's important to him, making sure that we know that, making sure that gets handled. And then he does a really good job of sitting in there with us when he's not busy doing whatever else head coaches have to do. But he'll sit in there with us. He listens. He takes it all in. And then he'll say, hey, this could make that idea just a little better. So he does a great job with us of not being overwhelming, but giving us structure, giving us a lot of great suggestions that we'll use through the game plan.
Most head coaches were coordinators at some point in time in their careers, right? So that means that they got full responsibility of one unit. And when you go to a head coach, it is more kind of like, hovering over it all. But the way that he approaches it, why do you? Why does it work so well? Why do you feel like you have more freedom, I guess, to just kind of do what you feel like you need to do to be successful on defense?
Yeah, I think we have a ton of freedom, but we also understand that we can't just be loosey-goosey, and we know that he's going to keep everybody in check. I think another thing that's really unique about him is he's not going to spend 90% of his time with the defense. He's going to make sure he's ready for the defense, for the offense, for the special teams. He's going to get with all 3 phases of the football so he can participate in practice. It's not like he's down there with the defense for 2 straight hours and the offensive guys never see him, or the special teams. So he's participating in the whole thing. Everyone understands that he knows each phase of the game is important. The kids respect that a lot. So I think he does a great job with that.
You're a Chip Kelly guy. Got your start. Have you ever coached against him in a game, like where you're coordinating a defense and he's like the head coach or an OC?
No, I guess the closest one would have been last year in the bowl game. Spencer, was still calling the game. But I'm trying to think. I think that was the first time ever, gone head to head with him, I guess, if you'd say, other than scrimmages and those kind of things.
Still in touch?
Yeah, still in touch. Not as much as probably should be, but still we talk quite a bit.
I think that seems to have this massive ceiling of where he can take his game to. I know it hasn't been perfect, but where have you seen him this last half of the season start to, it seems like, play faster and really start to kind of come into his own maybe?
Yeah, I think, as you grow in football, experience and reps, the thing that allows him to play faster is he anticipates things before they happen now. Some of those things that a guy like Alexander Tubner can anticipate, what's the call going to be before the motion happens? Am I telling those guys over there, here's how we're going to play this thing? And that allows me to play faster as well. Splits, looks in the backfield, and maybe they're not 100% going to happen, but having that little bit of anticipation, I think he's doing that much, much better right now, and I think he's really playing good football.
He's such a nice kid, but he also seems to play with a little bit of an edge, though, too. Where do you see him kind of flip that switch or whatnot?
Oh, there's no doubt. When it's time to walk around the building, even in before we get in the film room, he's an easygoing dude. He's laughing, he's joking, he's having a good time. The guys really enjoy being around him. When it's time to watch film, when it's time to get on the field, that thing flips, and he's a different dude.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate you.